Hi everyone, it's Adrian Leah. I felt called to do a reading tonight, and I was getting specific things. So I was getting um like outsider energy, specifically when before I started filming and a little earlier this night, I was getting like the Meghan Markle and Prince Harry type of energy, as if the scapegoating or feeling like someone or something doesn't belong there, and it doesn't feel like a super justified reasoning at all. And then earlier today, I did get an interesting vision, and it was a mother, and it feels like it was almost as if she was scolding like her son, or like a mother scolding her child, but it felt as if it was so intense that it was directed like at me in a way, because it was like, stay out of it. And then there can be different interpretations depending on the context of what you're talking about. But I was getting like when a snake tries to eat something and it's bigger than what its mouth is, so you just see the snake, it almost like maybe if it's like an egg or something, and then it tries swallowing it, and it's kind of a process for it to swallow the thing it's trying to eat, because it completely stretches and it looks like it's like a lump in their body, specifically like in the throat area, as if it like um is energy that's in the throat, that's something that's like bulging, that it almost needs to release in some way, as if maybe something's caught in their throat, or there's only so much that they can say at this point because they can't keep like saying something type of energy. So I have 3 decks for this video, and it's been really nice to use multiple decks, um, because if you've been here for a while, you'll know that I do have a collection of decks, and I try to be super mindful these days on what I bring into my collection, because I have um, traded, sold, or just passed on some decks, and then you're still left with a good amount of decks if you have a collection. So I try to really keep the ones that I know are really true to me, and that are ones that I am using frequently. This must be a special reading because my other cat is here, and she is the shyer one of the cats. And then my other one is sleeping right now. So the decks that I have are the Slavic Tarot, Slavic Legends Tarot, the Pastoral Tarot, and the Tarot of Tails. There is a bit of curious energy too. I would say what my one of my cats, Isabel, she enjoys decks. So she's getting really curious right now. Also getting off to the side. Like maybe putting something to the side. Not really concentrating on it. It's almost like something or someone is there's an attempt to put things off to the side with this person. And like with the snake, only so much that the person can say at that point, but it keeps getting brought up into conversation and constantly and constantly and constantly to a point where it can't be off to the side anymore. It's more of the center of the conversation at this point. Um, this one is the Ten of Pentacles. I don't usually flip over my cards, but I do sometimes. More on a whim. So it feels like as if the figure in the middle is a person or the topic of conversation. This could be energy of knowing, curious but not knowing and not really wanting to know. There is a bit of I guess, a fear complex that comes with it too. I didn't turn over all the cards, but two of the energy cards, well, the main one right now that I'm talking about is the Chariot with Baba Yaga with the Queen of Cups. So it's like the Witch of the Forest, and that's where it left off. And I really feel like this is, if you believe in this stuff, like a divinely guided type of message, depending on what you have your source to be. I'm not here to judge, but I feel as if the guides were kind of orchestrating this conversation. And there's a smirk here as if the person of the water, the person of the subconscious, or the figure or the energy that is initiating this reaction or kind of pushing this message out is kind of smirking as if this needs to get out. And with the Wheel of Fortune causing rifts or changes of events, and you see the hands of maybe the ancestors or the spirits, spirit guides, goddess, god, source. Something feels like it's an orchestrated conversation. It feels almost necessary at this point because it can be a matter of something that is helpful or dire. Maybe the Ten of Pentacles is, it reminds me of um, a dinner, like Thanksgiving dinner. Not all countries have Thanksgiving, and we have called it different things, especially over the years for America. But in the Tarot of Tales, there's a specific image with the Ten of Pentacles, and it looks like a family eating at a dinner table. And at one point it was paired off with, at many points because I was getting it constantly, that the Queen of Swords brings up uncomfortable conversation that's meant to be said, or um and it is really confrontational because when I bring up the dinner table and Thanksgiving or any event where there are multiple people, specifically a gathering of family members, and sometimes um there are family members that don't exactly get along or see eye to eye. There's like reasons why they don't come together in the first place. Because when they get to this dinner table and they have these topics, um, there are things to be said. And it does feel, it was like that fear factor that I was getting with the Chariot card and the Queen of Cups. There's a high anxiety that comes from it. And with the Queen of Cups, it does have that, um, maybe it's a maternal instinct. I feel that it can be touchy, especially with family units and the types of values that those units hold may be completely different than other family units, and maybe in a way where there are differences that aren't, that might not be clear or clarified to outsiders, as if there is an etiquette there and the outsider gets there and they're just like, hey, trying to be all friendly, doing their thing, being themselves. And then they look at this person, or specific people look at this person, and they're like, who is this? Why are you here? You don't get it. You don't belong in this area. That's kind of what it feels like. It kind of feels like you brought your new partner, boyfriend, girlfriend, maybe spouse to the dinner, and it's almost as if like they walk in and it's a silence because they're not getting the history of what this is, the etiquette of the conversation. There is a lot of confusion that comes out of it too. Because I don't think that the person or topic of conversation is necessarily trying to put something that is offensive out there. Um, I know a lot of times, like, we could say things that, especially if we're around people that we just met, or maybe the family members that you're about to meet. Some things might just come into the conversation, and there is some discomfort there, is what I'm getting. And with the Ten of Cups, another extra card, the figure, the woman, has her head down, as if the other figure here is trying to talk about something that maybe is music to his ears, maybe something that he's or she is passionate about. I'm not gonna read genders. And she's like, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And there's almost as if it's like a snapping energy. Like, you better knock it off. You better stop bringing this up because it's really like aggravating me at this point. I told you my answer and you're still going at it. And there is a snapping or breaking or a destructive moment that comes out of it when you have the Tower and the World card. And this is pivotal events, with them being part of the major arcana, Chariot being the major arcana, the Ace of Cups being the minor, but still holding true to something that will begin, with it being the beginning of the minor arcana of the cups, and the Wheel of Fortune major. There is an expansion and wanting to see more than what is there. And with this and the karmic card for the Slavic legends, I am getting as if you try to find the person or the people of your tribe. Sometimes there is the longing, a lot of times there's a longing of wanting to find where you belong. And the soul constantly searches, and the soul doesn't stop. And that's why I feel like there's a topic of conversation that has such discomfort, because it's giving the permission of asking, and not like in an offensive way, but to ask if I can expand, if I can find something that my soul is craving, that it needs, because it's not getting the nourishment where I'm at or where the person's at. I feel like this may focus around male energy too. There are quite a bit of male type of cards in this deck, some court cards. There is the Queen of Cups too, but it and the pages Queen of Wands. And since I brought Page up, maybe it'll link to something that starts up with the Queen of Wands. There feels like a strong sense of focus or infatuation even a struggle. There is a lot of emotion that comes from the Knight of Wands. It is one where the energy doesn't know where to go. And it feels like it's constantly stomping out the fires that it has surrounding him. Continuously going forward, feeling like they're in a wounded state because they try to resolve things, try to go past or get the approval or feel that it's okay to expand and find what the soul needs. In the immediate future, there's the Three of Coins, Three of Pentacles. Something is chipping away, and it does feel like at this point there's like a clock ticking in the brain, like in the mind, where it's like sometimes like when you feel like you've been somewhere for so long, and then it just like the antsiness gets to you. And then in the further future, you have the Nine of Wands. I feel like with this, trying to hold or keep your composure, be in the state that you're at, and to continue to work on things with the Three of Pentacles. It feels like there is a studious energy, like a conjugating energy of needing to work for somebody, um, because maybe they can't work as much as they would like to work, but it feels like you're being there for other people more than you are for yourself. And depending on the situation, sometimes it is like that. So again, no judgment there because it is a type of love that I do get from that. But with the Knight of Wands, it almost feels like your soul is like, I need to go. So it doesn't feel like it's holding on at this point. It feels like it's on its way to, I guess, the greener pastures where there aren't fires, where it feels like it'll be safer, maybe like a safer environment. Having to do with the Queen of Wands. I will say that with the Nine of Wands, it does come with a little bit of an exchange. But overall, and then the main cards for the further future, the Nine of Wands, it's the Five of Pentacles. And the Five of Pentacles looks like she is in an environment that is doing more damage than good. There isn't a lot of growth there. There isn't a safe haven there. It feels like there is a tormenting energy that comes from it, to be honest. But the movement forward, you have the Six of Swords. And with the Six of Swords, it does feel like there are compromises that are made. But I feel that they're good compromises because I feel like maybe people have said, okay, well, if you if they accept what they what the person wanted to do with the confrontation or of that specific question that you have at the dinner table, because it just feels so prevalent to this reading. We need to have this conversation, And I know it's not the happiest of conversation, but it's important because we're trying to get out of a storm. And you can't avoid the storm. You had to go through the storm it's when you're in the ocean. So this is being able to make those compromises throughout those points of at this point you can't avoid it. Sorry, I keep repeating words. Um, I would say slight disagreements, but in the further future, it feels like things are calming down. I feel like with the Empress card, it could link to the Queen of Cups. There's a sense of maternal energy that you get. And there is a link and an understanding of growth because the Empress shows up impregnated in the card. So with the Three of Swords, I feel like it can link to maybe a child, um, the growing pains and maybe growing up in a way, and feeling those different emotions that you get when you're in those type of position of raising somebody, of being there for somebody. Doesn't necessarily have to be a mother and child, but it does feel like there is like a family dynamic that goes with it. With the King of Swords, we're introducing it a little later into the reading, but he is in the past as if he already made up his mind. But there's just waiting in the Three of Pentacles, chipping away and having a duty, having an obligation, but only going for so long. The overall energy for this reading is the Sun card, and the Sun card has such an uplifting, optimistic energy, as if the rooster crowed and it gave them excitement. It gave them the happiness to be alive. It's something that words can't express in a way of how happy or grateful this person, and I say person, um, what this person brought to the table. There, it feels like with this specific person, there is a link to the Queen of Wands, and there's an excitement and a joy and an authenticity, um, the loud laughs, the um, expressive personality that the Queen of Wands gave. There is something about that that really just shine with this person, with the um, person asking about this person asking the Queen of Cups if maybe they could move forward. And with this card and this person, it feels as if she loves hard when she's upset. You can see it when she's sad. You could see it, or um, when she's angry, but you could see it. There's something really expressive and full of life that I feel really links to the Ten of Pentacles and the Sun. the sense of joy of being alive. And with the further future, another card that goes with it is the Five of Swords. So it feels like a straightforward response from the King of Swords at this point. Um, to the Empress, to the Queen of Cups, that aspect of the Empress, um, with the Empress embodying the Queens. That there's no way around it anymore. In the mind, currently, it's the Two of Swords. And this one, it kind of feels like wanting guidance. It with the angel there, and with the tower, it kind of feels like being stuck in the tower. Two of Swords with the Knight of Coins, Knight of Pentacles, and the Hermit. It kind of feels as if staying with Three of Pentacles, with working based off of obligation and duty, um, and also being like in a jail, like with the tower needing to fall, and with the hermit having other aspirations of how I'm here, but I want to get there. What do I do? And the Knight of Coins. Because with the Knight of Coins, there's a sense of being persistent, and once the Knight of Coins has made up his mind about something on what he's going to do, um, that's what his goal is at that point. There is something that has already been decided, and it will be, I suppose, revealed into the further future, with the Five of Swords being the extra card, um, the Karmic card being the Eight of Cups, wanting to find the belonging. And it looks like he's backtracking too at that point of in flight with the Ace of Swords. An idea takes off with this. And it might have to do with the Ten of Pentacles because you have the Page of Cups. Going where there's growth, even though it's with the cups, you see the reed plants and they're growing where uh, they're made to grow. Feels like there is a feeling of being at home. And maybe with turtle energy, be home is wherever you are, but there is also finding where you belong. And that's the topic of conversation. So you have the Ace of Coins, another ace, because we had the Ace of Cups here as, as an extra card. The Ace of Coins is in your environment. It feels like something already left. And it feels as if needing to catch up with something or someone because um, with the Ace of Coins, it looks like that's the Ten of Pentacles, the figure in the Ten of Pentacles, where that's the goal in mind. That's what the Hermit is thinking about. I'm here, but I need to be there. And then the Page of Cups. It feels like there's love on the mind. And if there are compromises, we do them with the best intentions. Then hopes or fears. I was going to say environment, so it could link to the environment, is the Five of Cups. In the Five of Cups, it doesn't feel bad because since it links to the Ace of Coins, because this with the Five of Cups, it's like a overreacting feeling like maybe you feel like something ended, but in reality, it it just needs to be caught up with. Not all is lost. And my hands, as they get itchy, it's like there needs to be different things to be brought together. Another ace, an Ace of Wands. There is a drive. It feels like there is such a passion that goes with it. So there are there are all the aces in here. So there's definitely a determination from the King of Swords to have this new beginning. I'll pull out another card from this deck. Or two came out, the King of Coins and the Magician, which is actually, this is like, it feels like there's going to be like a home run with the King of Coins and the Magician, and the rooster is there. Something woke the Magician up. And with the King of Coins, I'll gather all that I have, all that I know, and I'll make this journey with the Eight of Cups. Because I might not know exactly how to do this or where or what to do, but I am willing to keep going. There's something that there's like an endurance that comes out of it. And with the magician, it's almost like figuring out the equation. There's a lot of different things to obtain the knowledge. You have like a world map and a even knowledge of different areas with the mortar and pestle and the looks like chemist tools. So they're different topics, but in a way they come together for specific purposes. And the main thing is the map. And then the bottom, the Seven of Pentacles and the Seven of Cups. It feels like in time you'll have to decide. But you see that there's, well, I see that there's like a snake and a dragon. Um, but it feels like the mind has decided already. Page of Swords is at the bottom of this deck. What I'm getting is at what cost? A lot of on the mind on what will it take. Maybe it literally is what will it cost to do this. The World is still here from the Tarot Tales. I haven't put that one back, so I'll just keep it out. And it's that figure going into like a path that they were on, but it led to a dark cave. Um, and what is this figure searching for? Is it a search for a couple of things, or like love, power, um, I'm getting vacation, or there's a sense of leaving, expanding. And there's different types of abundance. And also getting that something is flipping. Something has changed. So it could also be how to get back on track with what we have left stagnant for so long. Card, the Two of Coins fell. And that was at 44. Feels like there was a bump or a mistake that happened, and now it needs mending. It needs to be watered with the bear and him watering the plant. It's a lot of water. The plant has coins on it too. The soil is barren, is what I'm getting. A lot. The soil is barren. So there was a lot that was taken from this plant to a point where it kind of feels like when you go to like maybe an ambulance or an emergency room or like a hospital and you're really deficient on something and they they get you something that just makes it peak quickly. That's what it would be like. And it, well, maybe like hibernation. Another extra card is the Ace of Wands with the dragon. Um, and it kind of reminds me of, it's not exactly what would happen in Aragon. I actually have never read the books or anything, and um, I know of the movies, but like a hatching of a dragon or something that is just that just bloomed or ignited. Moving past the awkward conversation is the Six of Swords, and it looks like a graduation here. So maybe there was a lesson learned of the mistakes that were made. But you still have the Knight of Wands and the Eight of Wands in the past, because the next step is the Knight of Wands, which I'd be a little weary about because the Knight of Wands kind of feels like, with the creature here, almost like a cheetah, of it sprints to a certain amount and then it stops. So, but it might be a good jump start, is what I'm getting. In the past, it's the Eight of Wands. With the Four of Wands in the future. The Eight of Wands and the Knight of Wands, it does feel like cheetah energy, where it started off so intensely and strong, but then it goes and bounces back to the Four of Wands. Four of Wands, it feels more of careful footing, with the lizard leading um, the passengers to safety from the lava. But the lizard, it feels like maybe it can take heat. There might be some disagreements or um, heightened type of conversation because it was so stagnant with the Two of Coins. But overall, with the Four of Wands, there is a sense of excitement and feeling secure and safe. The fours, it's a good card to have. It's a good state to be in because it's something that's stable, something that the Knight of Wands sometimes struggles to have because he starts off so quickly to jump into this, and it could be jumping into something exciting with the Eight of Wands, feeling excited, but it could also go into other emotions super quickly too without giving any regard to maybe other people or um, not much sensibility to themselves either. It does feel a little harsh and it feels a little bit irresponsible too. But with the Four of Wands, I think it's a way to ground themselves. And the Six of Swords, really listening. There's a lot of talking and listening. And with the birds, it kind of feels like migration too. Um, Going back to warmth because migration with the birds going to the south, at least in the US, it's the geese going to the south for warmth uh during like the cold seasons. So there was a sense of leaving and now it's coming back. But there is with the Four of Wands more of an understanding because you can't just come and go with certain things in life. You kind of have to find the beauty of each season with the Sun card. And Three of Coins towards the future, working on things. Um, Picking the apples. And it has the three raccoons there working together as one. Um, which is really nice because it feels like a group effort on all of them wanting to make this right at that point. The next card, the King of Swords. And this kind of feels like a scapegoated energy too, but still going with it. Still leading even though it it can be painful in some cases. Because it has a crown of thorns. I'm not necessarily super religious in that way, but I guess in background information. I I went to Catholic school from preschool to senior year of high school. So we had the religion classes every day. And I have all my sacraments. That's where Leah comes from. It's my confirmation name. And going to mass consistently. So there was a lot of studying of the Bible, the studying it in English, Spanish, and in Latin. And you just get a insight and an appreciation for, I feel like for me, stories and what they teach us, because that's what parables are. And they're stories that connect the divine to the humans, or they humanize the divine so that the humans can understand the lessons. And what do these lessons teach us? And that's something that the King of Swords thinks about. The King of Swords, it is a sense of, if we think of it as like Christ, like with the crown of thorns, being sent to release other people of their sins that aren't your own. And um, being the example there. And when things are put against you, still having a sense of integrity. So with the other cards, they always make my reading so long. I have to move some things around because I just lay it down. And the card came up again for the future, the Ten of Pentacles, the past, the Four of Wands. These really went hand in hand, the Four of Wands and the Ten of Pentacles. It feels like an integration at that point, which is good because we're not trying to work against what we have or what's given to us. And the things that get brought up into our lives could be messages, could be things that try to teach us things. And if could be guides, could be fairies or angels. To bring us messages. To see where our integrity lies. And I love the Six of Cups. There's something so special about it. And it really just goes down to like the Pisces season where it's so, I feel like with Pisces energy that I was introduced to, it's such a healing energy for trauma, especially. And it really brings up certain questions, especially with Pisces, the sign of Pisces in general, um, when they're so curious about everything about you. And there is a sense of like a happiness and soothing, healing energy that comes out with that because somebody is there to really nurture those sides of you because they want to know. And it's not in a meddling way, but it's wanting to know in a way where they want to care for you even more. So that's why they ask these questions. And I was I was getting a little emotional with that one. With this struggle, it is the Page of Cups, and there is a reflection there. It almost feels like this figure goes to this pond a lot to think about things. And with that, the Page of Wands, I am getting a sense of wanting to explore the emotions that are there, needing to express them. And there's a balance with the wands and the cups, with the water and the fire. And then you get the Two of Cups too. So that really links to the Page of Cups and the Page of Wands. I feel like there are like opposites attracting or coming together. Um, when you think about the yin and yang, it, when I went to college for herbal medicine, it's the bond between two inseparable polarities and even batteries too. So, and it could also be Eastern and Western medicine. That could be also some differences in that regard of she doesn't know the etiquette here, Eastern and Western. Um, the next step with me is the mindfulness. It does feel like it kind of feels like a person that waits for her soldier to come home. Like she's just tending to her the things that she needs to do around the house and even well that is helpful to be quilting for sure, but it feels like a waiting and almost a yearning. You have the Ten of Wands, steady, heavy movement. With the Ten of Wands, it is a lot to do, but it's one manageable step at a time. And especially with the Eight of Pentacles, the Eight of Pentacles is really methodical in a way where we keep doing these actions until it becomes second nature to us. Then the final card, I'm sorry, it's so long. It is, well, the Eight of Swords. With the Eight of Swords, it feels like there is a way to get out, but um, it starts with the mind. There's so much potential and unlimited things that you can do when you discipline your mind. That's where it starts. And if you don't, that's where it ends. So, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you in another video. Bye.